Protests all began on a Thursday night. It was May 28th. A disturbing video now showing police firing something at a protester who was walking away from officers who were standing in a line in downtown Louisville. It was day 3 of the protests. Today, that protester filing a lawsuit against Kentucky State Police, Louisville Metro Police, the interim police chief, and the Jefferson County attorney. Paulina Butska is here with more on the details of that lawsuit. Paulina?
Well, Doug, the incident dates back to May 30th. Jonah Albert is the man suing these departments after a video of him peacefully protesting shows one of the officers firing and hitting Albert in the back of the head. And here's what his lawyer had to say today.
Y'all mother side murderers!
Mr. Albert was at least a block away, as the video shows, when one of the unknown officer, either the LMPD officer, Louisville Metro Police officer, or the Kentucky State Trooper, dressed in riot gear, armed, fired a shot, hitting Mr. Albert, then laughing about it.
Nearly 2 weeks after this video was taken, Jonah Albert stood alongside his attorney, Sean A. Wimberly Sr., Friday morning.
These officers have to be held accountable. Not just the individual who shot Mr. Albert, but the ones that were standing beside him. Those officers are just as guilty as the individual who pulled the trigger.
On May 30th, Wimberly says his client was peacefully protesting the deaths of Breonna Taylor and George Floyd.
The Constitution protects individuals like Mr. Albert.
The lawsuit claims a violation of Albert's civil rights, retaliation for protected speech, failure to intervene, and battery and excessive force.
We have to hold the police feet to the fire to the Constitution. We have these rules in play. The legal system has rules, and these officers shall be subject to them.
What do we want?
While race issues in our country have been the basis of protests, Wimberly says this lawsuit is about more than that.
The race issue is still the foundation. We don't want to ignore why they were protesting. The police brutality has to stop.
Now, LMPD has come out and clarified that they don't use rubber bullets. They say they use pepper bullets. I reached out to all the agencies involved. KSP responded saying they have not officially been served with the lawsuit. When they do receive it, they will review their involvement in the situation and comment further. LMPD, Jefferson County Attorney, and Mayor Fisher have not responded to our request for comment. Doug?
Thank you, Paulina. Well, many protesters